So, everybody, we've got a cool lesson today. We're going to be learning more about breakfast foods and stuff and foods you can find in like a cafe or a restaurant or something. So the next time you go out, perhaps take your family out for breakfast or something, then you will know what to order, kind of, in English. So this here you'll see a lot, like on tables and little rectangular packets like this. Marmalade, Marmalade. Marmalade. It's basically like jam or jelly. There's a tiny difference, but we'll worry about that later. Jam, Jam, or jelly, Jelly, Jelly. Yes, we will be going over these here shortly. This is just to kind of get you comfortable with them, with these words and these concepts. Toast, bread, pieces of bread that have basically been baked. Toast. That the OA just sounds like an O, a long O. So toast. And one of America's favorite foods, the cheese. Cheese. You've got two E's, which signifies a long E. And of course, to even complicate things more, you've got the E at the end to make it long. English is just weird. And the S also sounds like a Z. So yeah. And then you've got the other staple of for breakfast is milk, which you use for a lot of different things. You can use it for porridge. You can use it, you have kind of have to use it for cereal. And pouring yourself a glass, using it in coffee, for example. But mostly that comes from the cow, as we went over last week. So that's where that comes from. And waffles, similar to pancakes, just square and with little squares. And it's pronounced waffles, Waffles. And of course, the plural, you just add an S because the E is already there. And the breakfast burrito, a very common thing now in the US. It's from a Hispanic food. So in this case, they use a tortilla and different things like eggs, sausage, potatoes, cheese, jalapenos, things like that. So and it's very easy to handle. So breakfast, burrito. And of course, this is a Spanish word, burrito, combined with breakfast. And then we have the next word, croissant. This is a very common pastry from France. But we don't, in the US and English, we don't pronounce it the way the French would, I don't think. Instead of croissant, which is how I'm familiar with pronouncing it, it's croissant. The OI is not pronounced like it is in French. This is pronounced more like a K. So K or CROISSANTS. Plural, just add an S. And the A is like kind of like ow, I guess. Like ow. Croissant. Tomatoes. This is something we went over yesterday. And the plural for tomatoes is you have an ES. Because of an O at the end, this vowel, you add an ES instead of just an S. And there's yogurt, like Greek yogurt. That one is spelled pretty much how it sounds, which is great when it comes to English. Porridge, so like cream of wheat and things like that. So Porridge. Porridge. That's a very common one, kind of like oatmeal. Oatmeal, OATMEAL. And of course, the breakfast cereal, like the Captain Crunch or anything like that. So breakfast, like burrito, you've got up here, it's being defined as a breakfast food because of, in this case, eggs, cheese, potato, stuff like that. This case, you've got breakfast cereal. That's mostly when this is supposed to be eaten. And of course, you use dairy, milk, whatever in that. Oh, yes. And bacon, which, as we went over from last week, comes from the pig. And this, another staple of breakfast, a few slices, strips of bacon. BACLN. It sounds like it should have a K in there, but it doesn't. Bacon. And orange juice, that one is simple. Like we went over yesterday, the fruit, the orange, squeezed into making the juice, which is another staple drink in the morning for breakfast. Pancakes, similar to waffles. It's just they take the shape of the pan that they're in, like this pan with the sausages, and they look more like that than waffles. So that's pretty much the only difference most of the time. Pan, like this, pan cakes, because it's dough, batter, I should say, and it gets flipped, and it takes the shape of the pan. And sausages. That can come from a variety of different critters. Cows, I believe, turkey, and pork, pig. So links, this is called a link of sausage, and plural, once again, on these two things, just add an S. Donut. Now, you might be familiar with the word dough, like bread dough, cookie dough, stuff like that. This is kind of a shortening of that word, I suppose, to make it donut. It's bizarre. DONUT. Kind of like do not. It's weird. Again, the circular pastry that has a hole in the middle. And muffins. One of my favorite things in the world. Kind of a larger cupcake, you could say. That's huge. They're bran muffins, blueberry muffins, chocolate chip muffins, things like that you can have as a side thing in the morning. Yes, and here is like a breakfast, a full breakfast. You have the egg, which comes from the chicken. You've got a slice of ham, which comes from the pig, and you've got what look like tomatoes here, and other little things. Breakfast sandwich, that's similar to the breakfast burrito, which you've got a bagel, which is a not sweet donut. You've got things slicing it in half, putting things in the middle. And the most important thing of anyone's morning, coffee. That is the most important thing. COFFEES. And I don't know why they put it as plural, but it's coffee. Whether it's plural or not. It's like the word, as I went over a couple weeks ago, it's moose, plural, or moose, singular. Either one, it's still the same word. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we'll be going over each of these in a little more detail and going through some clause sentences and having you guys look over actual menus from cafes so you can kind of figure out where things are placed so you can identify things better. So I shall start handing things out for you guys to start working on.